And shifting our focus to the latest, we're learning from the Supreme Court on bulldozer action. Chief Justice of Supreme Court B.R. Gavai, while addressing an event in Italy, has cited the Supreme Court's recent ruling against demolitions as example of constitution in action. He says right to shelter is a fundamental right, not a charity. The CJI said a house is not just property but a symbol of stability and hope. This is a very interesting remark that's come in from the CJI. Ananya Bhatnagar joins us with more details. All the more interesting, Ananya, given how the Supreme Court in the past has come down heavily on bulldozer action, but with this remark coming in from CJI Gavai, how do we look at this and what the Supreme Court's opinion on this entire controversy is?
Well, the Supreme Court has always been, in fact, it was a 2024 judgment that the CJI was actually pointing out at. And the Supreme Court is very, very stern as far as bulldozer justice is concerned, clearly saying that, right to shelter is a fundamental and a constitutional right. And that should not be forgotten is what, in fact, the Chief Justice of India, Justice B.R. Gavai, said in Milan. Not only that, he also, while there had been a lot of controversy over the Constitution of India, he was very, very stern that, it is not a long or a rigid, document. It's a living document that has been there for 75 years and has been the driving force of the country's democracy for a very, very long time is what, in fact, the message of the Chief Justice of India had been. He was speaking at an event in Milan. Remember that the Chief Justice of India is on, in fact, a kind of various tours. He was earlier in London where he made certain speeches. Then he went, he's now in Italy and he was addressing an event there. And that is where, he spoke both about, how the Constitution is something that is a driving force of the democracy of the country. And it is and after the socio-economic amendment had happened to the Constitution of India, it completely goes on to say that it's neither too long nor too complex and definitely not a rigid one because it keeps changing via various amendments that happen to make it, at par with the current society and the kind of challenges the society faces at this particular point of time.
Oh yes, and these are in particular very interesting comments that have been made by CJI Gavai, not in India, on foreign soil. And like I said, this goes back to some of the Supreme Court judgments that have strictly opposed bulldozer justice as a concept. And that's a reiteration that's coming in from the CJI. But give us a little bit of a legal sense into what we've seen in the country in terms of cases around bulldozer justice in the recent past and how the Supreme Court has responded, Ananya.
Well, definitely, the Supreme Court has always taken a stern view as far as bulldozer justice has been. Remember, whether it's the case in Uttar Pradesh where, various houses of criminals were actually, bulldozed. There also Supreme Court had certain strong observations to make. And in December 2024, in fact, a very, very strong worded judgment, the Supreme Court laid down guidelines for, demolitions to take place. There had been a procedure in place, but to strengthen that procedure, put more safeguards, that particular judgment came in, and that is exactly what the Chief Justice of India was talking about. The whole premise of all of this is that a right to shelter is a constitutional and a fundamental right. And, not only seeing it as an Indian perspective, but also, it shows some kind of a judicial diplomacy that the Chief Justice of India has been doing for the past month. He has been in London. He has addressed various, meetings and, in fact, various events in United Kingdom. And now he's in Milan where he has made these addresses. So not only on the part of the Supreme Court, but also as, India's representative, as a soft judicial diplomacy, what we can say is something that these speeches are also, in another view, they can be viewed as this as well.
Many thanks, Ananya, for getting us all those details. A very interesting comment coming indeed from CJI Gavai.
Network 18 is now the clear leader in digital media, with 55% more users on native platforms and social media than Times Internet. Network 18, the undisputed leader of news networks, way ahead of the times.